A massive 63% drop in direct labor costs for just that one department. I mean, when you see a number like that, the decision to jump on the AI train seems like a total no-brainer, right? It's a clear-cut massive win. Or is it? Every business out there is looking at AI and seeing one big thing, right? Dollar signs. A super powerful way to slash costs and crank up efficiency. And you know, the promise? It's really tempting. It seems simple, almost too good to be true. But here's the thing. Just like with any big business shift, the costs that can really sink you, they're not the ones you see on the surface. So in this video, we're going to take a look below the waterline. Alright, let's just dive right in with a kind of math that makes every CFO's ears perk up. So on the left, you've got your standard customer support team. We're talking 5 people, costing you about 282 grand a year when you factor in all the benefits. Now look at the right. This is the new model. 1 AI chatbot plus 2 human agents to jump in on the tricky stuff. And the total cost? A little over 105 grand. Yeah, and that right there is the big, flashy number everyone sees. A massive 63% drop in direct labor costs for just that one department. I mean, when you see a number like that, the decision to jump on the AI train seems like a total no-brainer, right? It's a clear-cut massive win. Or is it? Because you know, if the savings were really that simple, you've got to ask yourself this tough question. Gartner found that almost a third, 30%, of all generative AI projects just get dumped after the pilot phase. So there's this huge gap between what looks good on paper and what actually happens when the rubber hits the road. And the answer is actually pretty simple, but it's a big one. That software license. You know, the number you see on the invoice from the vendor. That's just the tip of the iceberg. It's a huge, expensive iceberg. And the real investment, the part that can totally wreck your budget and your timeline, is all hiding just below the surface. So, to get through this without hitting that iceberg, leaders have to change how they think. It's not about the purchase price anymore. It's about the total cost of ownership, or TCO. And as KPMG points out, this isn't just about the check you write for the software. No, it's about every single cost, direct and indirect, that you're going to face over the entire life of that AI investment. Alright, so let's break this whole thing down. We can basically group all these hidden costs into 5 big categories. And honestly, every leader needs to get their head around these and budget for them. Because these are the areas that decide if your project is going to be a huge success or if it's just going to quietly disappear. Okay, first up, time and opportunity cost. Let's start with the one thing AI is supposed to save you in the first place, time. And here's the funny thing, the big irony. This whole transition to AI, it eats up a massive amount of time. And if you don't manage that carefully, all that time spent doesn't actually turn into any real value for the business. This brings us to a really powerful idea from Gartner. They call it the productivity leak. It's a great way to think about this problem. So imagine your shiny new AI tool saves an employee an hour every day. Great. But what if that hour just gets soaked up by longer coffee breaks or gets spent on other busy work that doesn't actually move the needle? Well, that productivity has just leaked away. You paid for the tool, you got the efficiency gain, but you didn't actually bank the financial benefit. So where does this leak spring from? Well, it's coming from all over. It's the hundreds, maybe thousands of hours your team spends just trying to learn the new tools. It's all the projects that suddenly start moving at a snail's pace while everyone gets used to the new way of doing things. And maybe the biggest one of all is the opportunity cost. Think about it. What other big ideas are you not working on because all your best people are tied up in an AI pilot that's dragging on and on? And that brings us right to our second hidden cost, change management and the human factor. Look, rolling out AI is not like installing a new printer in the office. Not even close. This is a massive disruption to how your teams work, to their daily habits, and let's be real, even to their sense of job security. If you ignore this stuff, you are basically planning to fail. You know, if you just take a super powerful AI tool and plug it into a clunky, old, inefficient process, you don't magically fix the process. No, you just create a much faster way to do the wrong things. And this has a name. It's called process debt. It's like you're taking out a loan on your future efficiency. And the interest payments on that loan, they come in the form of constant rework, frustrated employees, and just a ton of wasted potential. So the big takeaway here is that your real investment isn't in the software. It's in your people and your processes. You're paying for those long workflow redesign meetings. You're paying for real hands-on training and upskilling, not just some boring one-hour webinar. And trust me, you are absolutely going to be paying to deal with the resistance and the rework that always happens when you ask people to change how they've done their jobs for years. All right, number 3, learning and iteration. Adopting AI isn't some one-and-done installation. It's more like a constant cycle of experimentation. You're basically a scientist, testing out different ideas. And let's be honest, not all of those experiments are going to work. Innovation always comes with a price tag. So when everyone's in a rush to get a pilot project launched, what happens? Teams take shortcuts, and this creates something we call technical debt. Think of it like using duct tape to fix a leaky pipe when you really need a proper weld. Sure, it might hold for a little while, but that quick fix is basically taking out a mortgage on your company's future. And the interest you pay on that debt? Oh, it comes in the form of expensive rework, total maintenance nightmares, and systems that just break the second you try to scale them up. So what does this mean for your budget? It means your total cost of ownership model has to include the cost of those first pilots. And yes, that includes the ones that don't work out. It has to account for the fact that you're going to have to tweak and fine-tune your models over and over again because the first set of data was off. This isn't a sign of failure. It's just the built-in, unavoidable cost of learning something new. Okay, number 4 is a big one: data and integration. Let's talk about the foundation that this whole thing is built on. I don't care how fancy your AI model is. It is only as good as the data you feed it, period. And getting all of your company's messy data AI ready, that is easily one of the biggest and most consistently underestimated expenses you will face. And this really gets to the core risk. There's a great quote from a machine learning practitioner in an archive study who said basically, doing data work the wrong way is way more dangerous than not doing it at all. And why is that? Because bad data doesn't just give you a bad answer one time. It actually embeds those errors deep inside your systems, creating these little time bombs that might not go off for months. So what does this actually look like in your budget? Well, it's the long, tedious work of cleaning up and labeling your data. It's the nightmare engineering project of trying to connect your new AI tool to that ancient CRM system you've had for a decade. It's setting up all the rules for governance. And this is a big one, it's the huge salaries you have to pay for those specialized MLOps engineers. One source calls them the hidden anchor of AI budgets. This foundational work, you just can't skip it. And finally, number 5, risk and error mitigation. Let's think of this one as your insurance policy. Because here's the deal. When an AI makes a mistake, it doesn't make a tiny one. It makes mistakes at a massive, massive scale. So the money you spend preventing and managing those errors, that's your insurance. The math on this is actually pretty simple. On one hand, you have the potential cost of a complete disaster. Think a huge data breach or a customer service meltdown that goes viral. And on the other hand, you have the very real day-in, day-out cost of making sure that never happens. It's a balancing act. So what's in this insurance budget? A few key things. First, human oversight. You're literally paying people to be a human in the loop to double check the AI's work. Then you have the constant technical costs like monitoring the model's performance and paying for those pricey security audits. And last, you've got to deal with these tricky long-term risks, like something called a hidden feedback loop, which is where a model can slowly poison its own performance over time without you even noticing. Okay, so I know that looking at all these hidden costs can feel a little overwhelming. But the point isn't to get scared and run away from them. It's about managing them smartly, with a strategy. The real key here is to stop thinking about this as just cutting costs and start thinking about it as a strategic investment where you line up your spending with what you actually want to achieve as a business. And Gartner actually has a great framework for this. It helps you align your spending with your level of ambition. So, level 1 is defend. This is all about using AI for basic productivity stuff, like automating reports or summarizing your meetings. It's lower cost, and you see the ROI pretty fast. The next level up is extend. Here, you're using AI and your own special data to get a real edge on the competition. Maybe you build a recommendation engine that nobody else has. The cost is higher, but so is the reward. And finally, the top level, upend. This is where you use AI to totally disrupt your entire industry, creating new products or even a whole new business model. This is the big transformational bet. It's the highest cost, the highest risk, but man, the potential payoff is huge. Knowing which of these three games you're playing is absolutely essential to getting your budget right. Because at the end of the day, the true cost of AI is really the cost of transformation itself. And that brings us to the final, most important question every single leader needs to be asking. The question isn't how much is the software license. The real question is, do we have a solid framework in place to make sure that this huge, complicated investment is actually giving us the value we expected? Because answering that question, that's how you successfully navigate everything that's lurking below the waterline.